All right, greetings, greetings. Welcome to another episode of the Weekly Awakening. And today we're going to talk about the third segment of numbers in our dreams and what numbers mean in our dreams. And so the first two parts, we talked about numbers 0 through 9. So we'll go ahead and just recap that, and then we'll get into the numbers 10, 11, 12, and 13. And so 13 is a very powerful number, so we'll cap it all off with that. So first off, to talk about, to understand numbers in dreams, we first have to understand dreams and what dreams are. And dreams are messages to us from our inner self, from our inner teacher, from our subconscious mind. And so our dreams are reflected back to us on how we're using our mind the day before. So when you have a dream, just remember that every dream is about you, the person dreaming. It's not about, your cousin Vinny. It's not about your brother or sister. It's not about someone soon to come into your life. It's not about any of that. It is about you. Every dream is about you. And every person, place, and thing in your dream is a part of yourself, is a different aspect of yourself. So that's why we go through these different symbols to help you to understand what part of yourself and be able to identify what part of yourself the dream is speaking to. And so these symbols are given in a language that our mind's speaking, because it's a mind-mind communication from the inner mind, subconscious mind, to the outer conscious mind. And so you have to understand that language, and it's a language of images, because we think in images. If you tried to describe to me the first car you ever had, or the first house you ever lived in, or apartment, or whatever, the first room you ever had, you would first have to image that in your mind to then use words to describe, and then I would take your words and create an image from that. So we think in images, and our thoughts are in images. So the better we understand those images, then the better we will understand how we're using our mind, how our thoughts are creating. Because as you think, so you become. As you sow, so shall you reap. The thoughts of today create the you of tomorrow. It's in every ancient culture that our thoughts create our reality. So it's very important to identify those thoughts, to better identify what you're creating, in order to be in better control of creating the life that you want, and also becoming the person that you want to become, versus just unconsciously doing that. And so numbers is what we're going to look at today. And so numbers are very unique because majority of the time it's not necessarily a symbol itself. It's more of a complement, a deeper explanation into the symbol itself. So a number is going to you want to pay attention to the number of things. So maybe it's 3 apples, or 4 bears, or 5 doors, or the 4 walls. So you want to kind of also, with understanding these numbers, understand what the actual symbol, what the actual image is. But how many number of that symbol is there is very important. So just to recap, numbers are going to represent the evolution of a thought, where a thought begins and where it ends up. So the evolution of a thought as it moves through the mind. And our thoughts begin within the innermost level of the subconscious mind, which is the third level of mind. It is the mental level. And then you have the fourth level, which is the upper astral, upper spiritual. Then you have the fifth level of mind within the subconscious mind, and it is the lower astral, or lower spiritual level. And then you have the emotional level, the sixth level, just before you reach the physical level in the conscious mind. That's why we feel our emotions, because it's adjacent to the physical. It's like I can feel the clothes on my body because it's touching. That's why you call them your feelings, because it's the energy that you feel. You can perceive your thoughts, which are originally occurring within the mental level, but that's much further away than the emotional level. So as these thoughts evolve and pass through the subconscious mind out into the physical to manifest, then you go through the procession and the evolution of a thought. So 0, to start out with, 0 will represent power. Like we said, 0 represents power. We'll get deeper into that today. Because when you have 10 and 20 and 100 and 1,000, the more zeros that you have, the more powerful that the meaning of that number. And so we'll kind of dive into that today, starting with 10. But then you have 1, which represents the individuality, and 2 represents duality, the two halves to the whole, the two sides to the coin. 3 will represent creation, the Holy Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, or the Father and Mother, to create the third human life. And then 4 will represent stability. That's why you have 4 legs to a chair, 4 legs to a table, because it creates stability. You know, if a car only had 3 wheels, it would be less stable. 1 wheel, 2 wheels, it'd be even less stable. You know, you have to have a lot of balance to ride a motorcycle. You don't really have to do shit to drive a car. So 5 will represent reasoning, which is the power of the conscious mind, the reasoning, the imagination, attention, and memory, you know, the past, present, and future, using your reasoning mind, which then is the foundation for the number 6, which represents intuition, you know, the direct grasp of truth, your access to that storehouse of wisdom within the subconscious mind, your intuition. And then that then evolves into the number 7, which represents visualization, creating an image with your mind, creative imagery, creating an image with your mind so that then it can then manifest. But then you have the number 8, which is a value, because now you have value for what you are creating. You value yourself, you value your thoughts. And then you have the number 9, which is manifestation and creation. And so the number 9 represents manifestation, where the thought has evolved all the way from within, all the way out into the physical. And so now that it has physicalized, then you get to number 10. And like I said, 10 is a number of power. So the 0 and the 1, it adds power to that number 1. And number 1, like I said, is individuality. And so the first 1 through 9 is talking about things going on within yourself, you know, the evolution of a thought within you. Now that we have reached, you know, because 9 is also the number of completion. So you've completed that cycle, you know, so every time you get to a 10, 20, 30, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, then it's a new cycle in the same spot. So it's all the number 1, 10, 1,000, a million. You know, if you deduce them all to a single digit and add up all the digits, it'll still come to number 1. So you're still in the same position, but you've cycled up to a new level. You know, so it might look like a circle here going this way, but if you look at it from the side, it's going up, you're elevating. So every time you add a 0, it's a new level, but you're in the same position. So it's a cycle, not a circle, it's a cycle. And so you're on this new level of learning about individuality, is what the number 10 represents. Individuality is 1, but you add the power of it. And so now 0 through 9 is all talking about a thought evolving from within, and 9 represents manifestation, manifesting out into the physical. So now this level of individuality, you are now on a new cycle of understanding what it means to be an individual. Now, instead of just from within, understanding yourself within, now out into a crowd, out into the physical. Now understanding who you are as an individual amongst other people. You know, individuality is best defined through unity. Unifying with other people is a great way to understand who you are, because then you have comparisons, you have things to strive towards. You know, it's easier to identify faults or things that you may be lacking in, and then can look at others to learn how to, you know, heal those or build up new aspects within yourself, new ways of being. And so that's kind of what 10 will represent. And then you have the number 11. And 11, like I said, if you take the 2 digits, add up all the digits back to the 1, 11 represents duality. And or 11 will add up to the number 2, which represents duality, but it's the power of 10. So you have the added layer of that. So the duality from within, the aggressive and receptive, the subconscious and conscious, the aggressive and receptive, or the subconscious and conscious as a whole, the superconscious, or the soul and spirit, or the soul and the body, the duality to it. You know, so you have that within. That's what the number 2 will represent. Well, the number 11 will represent that duality outside of yourself, you know, the aggressive and receptive factors of the universe, because the universe is very receptive and it is also very aggressive. And so then the number 11 will represent this outer duality, you know, the duality of the inner and the outer, the duality of male and female, you know, the duality of aggressively achieving things and receiving from the universe. You know, and so you have the number 11 will help you will point you in the direction of identifying that, you know. So whether maybe it's 11 people, all of a sudden you turn the corner and there's 11 people there. Then you really want to identify, do I know these people? Do I not know these people? And then that will help you to identify what duality aspect you are, the dream is pointing to you for within your waking life. And so then that brings us to the number 12. The number 12, if you take the 2 and the 3, or the 2 and the 1, it equals the number 3. And 3 is about creation. So the first time around when we were talking about creation is creating something within yourself. So, say I'm just a very lazy person. I don't really get stuff done a whole lot, but I want to change that. And I want to be a very productive and proactive person. Well, in order to go from one to the other, from lazy to productive, I have to create that within myself. That's not how I normally am, so I have to create that within myself. So it's about an inner creation. Well, the number 12 will represent taking all that you have created within yourself and utilizing that to create in the physical now. Because the first level was about everything within yourself, and now the 10, 11, 12, and 13, the added power is taking that understanding to things outside of yourself. So the number 12 is going to help you to understand things that you're creating. So maybe, you walk into the kitchen and there's 12 bananas on the table. Food represents knowledge. So there's some sort of way that you are building more knowledge and understanding of creating in the physical, physical manifestation, instant manifestation maybe. And there's more understanding and knowledge that you're receiving in creating things within your life, manifesting things in your life. And so you want to look at that, so that's what the number 12 will be pointing you in the direction of when you have that in your dream. And then that finally brings us to the number 13. And the number 13, the 1 and the 3 add the digits and they equal down to the number 4, which is stability. And so at first you were creating this inner stability to where you were more stable within yourself, kind of the center, the eye of the storm, being centered within the storm, no matter what's going on around you. But now you've evolved to such a place that the number 13 is now representing that you have mastered so much with understanding each of these numbers that you have an understanding of who you are out amongst other people. The number 10, you understand the dual aspects and dual nature of the universe that you walk among and live within, and you also understand how to create things within the physical and physically manifest things. The number 12. And so now that creates not only this inner stability, but now you have created stability within the physical life, within your outer life versus your inner life as well. And so that is the sign of a true master, which is what the number 13 is. It's a master number. It's a number of mastery, having mastered the self inwardly and outwardly. And when you have the number 13 in a dream, that's what you will want to look at, is that you have built a certain level of understanding within yourself and have brought those understandings to the physical in order to create stability within your life. And so that's kind of a quick summary of the dreams and numbers in dreams, numbers 0 through 13, and what to look for in those numbers. So other numbers that you'll see if you get past 13 really is really only going to be like 20 or 30 or 100 or these larger zeroed out numbers. But it's all the same. You would just want to deduce them down to the single digit, and then maybe it's 400, 700. And so 700, you deduce it down to 7, which is about creative imagery. So it's a third cycle, because you have 2 other zeros, a much higher level of understanding what it means to create an image within your mind in order to have that come out, down through the subconscious mind, out into the physical and manifest into your physical reality. And so that's kind of, what you would look at there. Or maybe it's 10,000. So really understanding who you are as an individual on a much deeper level. So that would be, if you come across and there's 10,000 people, out in front of you, then it's, you really understanding many aspects of yourself and just a much deeper level of self-awareness and knowing who you are. So that's what I have to share with you today on numbers in dreams. Next week, we'll dive a little deeper into some other subject, probably kind of take a break from dreams. I got some other dreams videos that are coming out, what it means when you jail in a dream, walls or fences. I don't remember which one I did, but I got to edit that up and get it out to you guys. There's another one on music, what music and dreams represent. So be on the lookout for that next couple weeks. Maybe next week we'll do a video on breathing or meditation maybe. So we'll start getting into more things besides just dreaming on these Wednesday nights, kind of expand it out a little bit. But we can always come back to dreams if you guys ever have a question on dreams or want a dream interpreted, even if we're talking about meditation or visualization or anything like that, inner harmony. You can always still ask a question on dreams. We can interpret some dreams. So thank you for coming in. I hope you all learned something from the video. If you're just now tuning in, you can always run back and watch it again on Facebook at The Weekly Awakening on Facebook. All those videos that I was talking about, those are going to be coming out on YouTube. So be on the lookout for those at Awaken Within on YouTube. And as always, I leave you all in peace.